And we got a show.
All right. Welcome in the Morning Invest. I'm Clayton Morris.
I'm Natalie Morris.
And we've got a big show lined up for you today. So let's dive into it today and waste no more time on this. I want to start this morning with the stimulus plan because we got some pretty big news overnight from Democrats on the stimulus plan. And it's not good. So we have a number of different reasons why this is not good. Let's start with the front line on this, which is that President Biden yesterday had a big meeting with Democrats. And at that meeting, basically, President Biden said, I'm going to Europe for this big climate summit. I need something. And you're all Democrats. I don't know if you know this, but we are in power right now. So where are we at? And one of the agreements that came out of this is that we are not going to have community college anymore. Community college is now going to be slashed. And also out of this meeting, we learned that Senator Joe Manchin saying, I am not going to go above 1.5 trillion. You guys can go back and forth all you want. I am not going above 1.5 trillion.
And this is the guy now who's just drawing lines in the sand left and right. And Democrats are kind of dancing like, oh, okay, we'll go there. We'll go there. Also, something that was on the chopping block is the childhood tax credit. Originally, that was supposed to expire this year. And then the president was giving hints that we're going to keep that in perpetuity. Seems to be working out pretty good. Now they're saying we'll just keep it going another year and then maybe people will forget. I don't think this is something anyone is going to forget about. It has been a reliable source of income that people are getting to support the children in this country. And I think we thought it was something that they would fight for as just minimum standard of care for the next generation. It is not. That seems to be something that they're going to give on. So all these things that Democrats campaigned on, saying that they were a hard line against these things, these social packages for a basic standard of education and living, they seem no longer to be.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable that, you have these meetings between Senator Bernie Sanders and Joe Manchin yesterday, and Eric Wasson, who's the political reporter for Bloomberg News, says Sanders and Manchin meeting again on reconciliation. Manchin says he's still at the $1.5 trillion top line, lower than the $1.9 trillion floor the progressives have talked about. It's interesting, all of this spin that's coming out of this situation, because look at Jen Psaki's response yesterday at the White House press briefing. Says, after a day of constructive meetings, the president is more confident this evening about the path forward to delivering for the American people on strong, sustained economic growth that benefits everyone. The discussions focused around a shared commitment to the care economy, ensuring that working families have more breathing room, addressing the climate crisis, and investing in industries of the future. It almost sounds like we're listening to a 1950s commercial. Like
the lady in the Epcot ball.
Right. Investing in the future. Progress here in 1950s America. The discussions focused around a shared commitment to the care economy and addressing the climate crisis and investing in industries of the future so that we can compete globally. There was broad agreement that there is urgency in moving forward over the next several days and that this window for finalizing a package is closing. Yeah, you think so? You think it's closing? And look, you have a guy like Joe Manchin who is winning at every turn in this situation right now. It's unbelievable how much he is controlling this narrative. And I have to say, it's really disgusting. You're going to get rid of 2 years of community college. That was a pillar of President Biden, even standing up in front of that town hall, that woman that we played the video of the other day.
Of yesterday, right. So he's saying, private for-profit college, it's going to continue to be expensive. If you're dumb enough to get your own debt too high, you're going to have to pay it off. But I think we do have to offer community college to all students. And that was his rebuttal. So this is 3 steps backwards, right? On the campaign trail, he said, I want to reprieve student debt and I want students to have free community college. Now that we've been through the pandemic and he's had massive spending packages passed, but not with any of those promises, he's saying, actually, I'm not for the debt reprieval. You took on this debt, you signed on the dotted line, that's on you.
Right.
But I am for the free college. And now he's going one step back and saying, I'm not actually for that can go. That's on it. And I understand as a politician, you have to like put things on both sides of the scales and see what needs to come off of it so that you can even them up. Everybody has to make choices. I get that, right? But what is not coming off the scale are things that continue to benefit big business and hurt the middle class and below.
Right, exactly. And President Biden, though, you talk about a scale. I always think of the scale as like what Republicans are willing to give and what Democrats are willing to give. And the bottom line is that it's both Democrats on the scale. Republicans are like at their beach house.
But
like
they still keep like weighing down the scale with their demands.
Right.
And so then nobody wins, right?
Here's how Politico paints it this morning. Says Dems edge closer to ditching disarray. Right. So now they're ditching disarray. They couldn't agree, but they're coming to an agreement on something that's garbage, quite honestly. They're going to get rid of the climate provisions. I mean, they're going to cut out the electric car climate provisions in this bill. And President Biden is flying to a climate summit.
In Europe, which has already, most European nations have already committed to this. So now you're going to show up like the guy who just doesn't do his homework in class to like, you're doing group work here. You got to do your job, guy. Like,
right.
And you promised, you said a lot of, he was very bullish on the economy. Again, we're barely a year past the election. And so we remember.
Yeah, we have.
Like my daughter says, "Mommy, I remember things."
Yeah, you don't have to pretend like I don't remember this. I remember this stuff. I remember, and I also remember progressives holding a hard line on this. You guys remember in the chat? Holding a hard line on this, right? Progressives are like, look, we're not signing anything unless there's a climate provision in here. We're going to make sure that climate is taken care of. We want Medicare. That's another big piece that's also on the chopping block this morning. Bernie Sanders, of course, pushing very hard to get this hearing as well as dental, as well as vision care, and that's also perhaps. Potentially on the chopping block because Manchin doesn't want to help people. I mean, on Medicare front, we just can't afford it, he says. But progressives yesterday were at the White House. They had this meeting at the White House. So the Progressive Caucus comes out. Pramila Jayapal comes out and goes to the microphone and talks about this meeting. And here's what she had to say. I was really, I have to say, disheartened by this response and the sort of the spin and the kissing of the butt, like the kissing of the ring of President Biden. Listen.
He talked to you about any deadlines that he wants, if it's not October 31st, which of course the House Speaker has said.
The president is the inspirer. He is the closer. He is the convincer. The mediator in chief. He really is doing a phenomenal job.
But to follow up on that, what about deadlines? Did he talk about deadlines?
I mean, I think we were trying to get this, trying to get to a real close as quickly as possible.
What's the likelihood you'll reach a deadline? Is he frustrated with what's going on? Is he taking a tougher stance? Is he basically saying, get this done?
The president has been nothing but respectful of all that we're trying to accomplish, all that he's trying to accomplish in his Build Back Better agenda. And these conversations have been really great. They're really conversational. Others should say how they feel about this, but really conversational, really important listening sessions for him to hear from our members and for us to hear from him.
Okay.
They're conversational. I like conversational meetings.
Okay, but if you're the closer, the Jerry Maguire of the room who can like work the living room, then you should be getting what you want, what's important to you, right?
If you're the negotiator in chief, you're the closer, that's a great point. Like, you're the one, this is your agenda. This is Biden's agenda. Then you don't
have to sacrifice.
This is not Manchin's agenda, and yet he is running the show. And he is he is absolutely totally fallen over backwards for Joe Manchin.
Yes. Oh, I thought you were pushing play on something else.
I did, but it didn't come through.
So I went, ring. Yes, excellent point coming out of this microphone.
That one worked at least.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, again, these are just like feelings about these are rumblings coming out of the negotiations. We still don't actually know. We haven't seen anything to read. So hopefully this turns around into something that actually shows that there is a war on poverty. Doesn't seem like it. Seems like we're fine with the amount of poverty we've got. That's all right. We're concerned about big business being in poverty, but the rest, not really.
That's
not
right.
Really. That's not funny. That's the wrong
Sorry, I hit
soundbite.
the wrong button on that one.
And I think the right soundbite is Hulk smash. Do we have that?
Well, no, I got to get Hulk smashed. But, bottom line on all of this, they're close to an agreement, but it's going to be a crappy agreement. That's why I gave it a little thumbs down here in my in our
Seems
graphic.
like it.
Biden stimulus cut in half, slashed in half, and a lot of the big programs that could really elevate Americans out of poverty also on the chopping block, thanks to Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Way to go. And by the way, we still don't even know where we're coming down on the SALT deductions, right? The state and local tax deductions. That's still up in the air.
Yes.
And we also don't know about Social Security, and we don't have a finalized number yet on Medicaid.
The SALT deduction should be a totally, that should be a done deal, right? Accountants called the SALT deductions the penalty for voting for Trump deductions, right? Because it meant that you could no longer deduct your high levels of property taxes or state taxes in where you live against your federal taxes. And only the states that voted blue were penalized by that. The red states were not, by and large. And so this is something that Biden should want to take an eraser to based on his own political affiliations. Why would this stay, right? If it stayed, what would it show? I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know how you would even answer for that.
Right. Well, wealthy people. I mean, you've got this wealthy caucus that's pulling for rich people and making sure that they can get these Manchin deductions.
Wealthy Democrats absolutely want this to disappear. It absolutely, it would shock me. There would be no real rational explanation for why it would not.
So let us know your thoughts on the latest on the stimulus news. Where do you come down on this? What should we do about Joe Manchin? Can you get on the phone and call your congressman and demand that they support some of these provisions? That's one thing you could do.
Yes.
We saw the story earlier this week on how basically Americans are uneducated when it comes to even what's in this stimulus plan. They've only been hearing about certain elements of it, climate particularly, but they haven't been hearing about anything else. They haven't been hearing about the Medicaid provisions because the mainstream media has been ignoring it. So there's a lot of people that just don't know what's in there. Now you know. You can get on the phone, call your local congressperson today, leave a message at their office, and demand that these things be included in this bill. Give them the pressure. That is how, and Jonathan says he's going to be on the phone today. Good. Get on the phone, call. It takes 2 minutes to get on the phone and leave them a message and let them know where you stand on this to support the larger package and some of these provisions. That's how we get change in this country. All right, we've got more news to get to here on the show on this Wednesday, October 20th, our anniversary day. Yes,
it is.
I can't believe. How long have we been married?
11 years.
Holy smokes.
5 hours and 20 seconds.
Counting the moments. Yes.
Every moment's precious.
So right after this show, we're actually going to be spending the afternoon just hanging out without the kids and just going and have a nice afternoon.
Yeah, we always go to Indian food whenever we get away from the kids.
I love some good spicy Indian food.
Some spicy food. Can't wait.
Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can also become a channel member by going to morninginvest.com/join, where you can stick it to the mainstream media and support independent journalism. We're able to bring you the stories that you won't see on any of the major billionaire-backed networks. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, everyone.